Welcome to the What Are We Doing Here podcast, where we share the inspiring stories of two completely opposite women who overcame their unhealthy relationships with food and negative self talk and found a path to health and healing through self discovery and natural nutritional supplements. I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Brittany, and today we're going to discuss plateaus in business, life, health journeys, and how to stay consistent and push through them.
That's right. There are so many times in our lives that we feel like we get stuck. And whether it is with a weight loss, you've kind of lost 50 pounds and feel like you've been stuck at a certain number. You get to a point in raising kids in life and you feel like, what more is there? Or with, a marriage, there are so many times in life that we can feel like we're kind of stuck and just plateaued out. And what is the next step? How do we keep pushing forward? How do we keep staying consistent and moving towards our goals? And that's really what we want to talk about today. And so Brittany kind of is in this situation now. And so we wanted to discuss a little bit of her plateau and then give some tips and tricks on how to move forward through that.
Yeah, so when Lindsay and I were discussing the topic this week for the podcast, we tend to try to go towards something that's happening in our life, something relevant to us at the time. And right now, I'm having a hard time with this plateau. I feel like I've lost 56 pounds. And I'm stuck. You feel like you're stuck in the mud, or what is it? You're spinning your wheels, and it's been hard to stay consistent on the diet. It's been hard to stay consistent emotionally. It's taking a toll on me. It's going on like 3 weeks now that I've not lost a pound. Um, Again, I try not to get on the scale because it's not my friend. But it's hard, man. It's hard when you're every day you're getting up, you're eating the meals you've prepped, you're doing the things you're supposed to be doing, you're asking advice on, why am I plateauing? What's going on with me? And people are like, it's okay. It's okay to plateau. Sometimes it's good to plateau, but I need to know how to push forward, how to get out of this because I'm starting to get in a funk emotionally about it. And I know if I do, Lindsay, then I'm not going to be consistent.
Yep. And what I can say is the very first thing is, how do we know we're at a plateau and what are you using to measure your progress, right?
Okay, so well, and this is good that you asked this because I'm really bad about kind of self-awareness. We've said this before. Maybe we need to do a podcast on that too, but I'm really bad about staying consistent about measuring. So I try to do it once a week. I don't always do it once a week, especially when the scale isn't moving. I feel like I'm going to be really disappointed. Also, I'm very, very large. I am. And so my weight, even though I've lost 56 pounds, I told you the last time we were together in person it had shifted almost. So
Mm-hmm.
my measurement seemed to change bigger in one spot and much, much smaller in the waist. And so that almost scared me away from measuring. So, yes, I'm trying to track my progress in more ways than one, but again, it's that emotional cycle of I'm not seeing any changes in a positive direction. So, how do I answer that to you? I get on a scale. That's what I
Yeah.
do.
Right. And that's okay. But so that's where multiple modes of not just measuring but pictures, and like when we got on today I was like, oh my goodness, like your face looks slimmer just me talking to you here today. And so I know that you're not quite good at taking progress pictures, right?
Because who
And
wants to see themselves, right?
well, but that's where you have to change that thinking. You have to
Mhm.
really, what if you want to see progress and you want to see where the changes are, you have to be able to look at it differently. As your body changes and you gain muscle, and when
True.
your body composition is changing, then you may not see that number go down. So is what I would say. The first thing is to really take a deep dive and an assessment into how are you measuring your progress and how do you know it's really a plateau Or are you tunnel vision on one piece that isn't
Right.
changing?
And
And
this is
that,
true. But let me say this too. So I've gotten into my head recently because, being in weight loss support groups and things like that, and seeing people with their pants, and so let me say this again. Being an extremely large girl, headed down, woohoo! But my weight shifted lower, so I had a couple of pant size loss in the beginning, but now it's not changing anymore. It's changing higher. Bra sizes have changed, so I do see there's some growth there. But where I want to lose is almost. I keep viewing it as stagnant. Like I'm.
yeah, then
So
that's okay. Then I would say that you're doing those assessments and we can say you truly are at a plateau. So what do you do now?
right,
And right?
right,
But the first thing is you really do have to say, is this a plateau or am I not measuring properly, assessing the situation properly? Am I looking only at one scenario? And again, that can be in business, in life, because
yeah,
if you're just looking at profit, if you're just looking at one aspect of business and you're not looking at uh, a range of key performance indicators that you have
right,
set out for your business, or sets of measurements that you've set out for your weight loss goals, then you can not really be at a plateau and just feel like it. But you are plateaued for
yeah.
3 weeks. There's been very minimal change.
And
And
I do
so
know, sorry, I do know how to get out of a plateau when it comes to business. We've discussed this. I know how to get out of a plateau with that whole life mindset when you feel like your relationships are stuck. But weight loss is new to me. It really is. I'm ignorant when it comes to these kinds of things.
so then it's reaching out to someone who's done it and you've been in, right. There's finding a new approach, not necessarily changing completely because you've been successful up to here, but just a new angle,
Mhm.
right? If you're inside the box, you don't see the same things as a 30,000-foot view. And
Mhm.
so either having someone else help you with seeing a different angle, having another perspective, and reaching out, speaking with someone who's gone through it or done it before can be very helpful and gives you just a new approach on things. Have you been doing the same exercises or no exercises? And there is something that scares you about that. But if someone else has a different angle and can show you something that doesn't feel as hard or feels like, oh, well, that could be obtainable, just a little shift to help you
Right.
start seeing some progress again. um, Discussing what you're eating every day, making
Mhm.
sure that you're truly keeping yourself accountable to what you need to be doing. So another is assessing, have you plateaued because you've slacked off? Are you not doing the same things? Go ahead.
So yeah, well, I will say we discussed one thing that I had added in that wasn't approved. So I do think that that I assumed because it was a health drink that I would be allowed to have it. But again, my rational brain is like, it's really not on your food list, Brittany.
Mm.
But so okay, so here you go. Here's a great thing. So this is when I'm really not being honest with myself, or I'm giving myself excuses. So am I plateauing because I'm kind of settling down? Like I'm not continuing to push myself to get outside of my comfort zone. I'm not continuing to push myself. I'm kind of going, you know what? It's okay because it's a health drink, even though it's not on my food list. I mean,
Mhm.
that could be a reason for a plateau right there.
Absolutely. Or, man, I've done really good. I've lost 56 pounds and, your momentum, your motivation that you have in the beginning, it starts to slow down, but also you start to get really frustrated
Yes.
when you're doing the right things. And so when it's that, when it's you've hit the plateau and now you're 3 weeks in, no movement, and you start to feel like, what am I even doing? Why am I doing this? You know?
And I do. So I can tell a change in my skin. I'm putting good stuff into my body. So I am seeing other things, but really, I just need this weight loss to pick back up, Lindsay.
Yes. And that's okay. And that's the one thing that I want to, you know, make sure that we highlight today, because people start, yes, we need to look at the positives. We need to look at the work that you've done and look how far you've come, but it's also okay to sit with this feeling
Well,
and be upset about it.
I am, because in my wind journal, I drink, looking at my wind journal, I drink my water every day. I ate off my food list every single day, so other than the few days I had that drink, so to me, I'm looking at my win journal saying I'm winning, and I'm seeing no progress.
So then it's likely a point where you need to switch things up. Your body is very adaptable.
Right.
Your That's our bodies want to be comfortable. And so it has now adjusted to the things that you're doing, and you're going to have to shake it up. And that happens too in life, that you just get into a monotonous routine of doing the same thing and shuffling kids and, sharing responsibilities, and you get very stagnant, and you just adjust to the things that you're doing, and our bodies are really bad about that. So reprioritize your goal.
Okay.
Okay. So really remember your why. Why are you doing this? And then start looking at, what are the little things that I could shift or change. It doesn't have to be something huge, but for you, it's probably starting to add in some exercise now.
I agree 100%, because I
So,
was so active before the
yeah.
pseudotumor diagnosis.
Hmm.
And my body is used to an active Brittany.
Yep.
Even though I wasn't losing weight, I was still
Right.
active. So,
Right. And so it's just that it's a small shift, an angle from someone else seeing like what could maybe help reinvigorate things, and really just a small shift. And so I know you're doing that. You're making changes. You're reaching out and doing things to see a different approach. And that is big. And
yeah.
so recognizing it is a true plateau, reaching out for help,
Mm-hmm.
prioritizing your vision and your goal,
Right.
and then making the plan with small shifts to be able to work back towards that goal, because you're always going to run out of motivation. It's the
Yes.
habits now that
Mm-hmm.
you have gained, the
Mm-hmm.
habits that you have started consistently doing, that you're continuing to do. So because those are there, now that's a solid foundation, and you can shift into making a small tweak that can just shake up your routine and likely help you blast through the plateau.
And that makes sense. That does. I actually wrote down my lack of motivation. Like, I was so motivated in the beginning because it's a cycle, right?
Hmm.
You love your cycles. We talk about it a lot. We
Yep.
don't want to get stuck in a bad cycle, but
Yep.
good cycles are good. And anyway, but the motivation goes down as you're not losing. So yeah, I'm glad you addressed that.
But I think it ties into the accountability partner too,
Yeah.
because when you need a little bit of extra belief, a
Mhm.
little bit of extra motivation, that's where leaning on someone who helps keep you accountable can be your belief and hold your hand until you get through that down cycle, because we all have them. That's why we have people in our lives. You've got a partner in life, and they have to be strong when we're not.
True. And I know I've taken up a lot of time on the weight loss, but thank you for addressing that for me, because it does carry over into the other areas that we discussed at the beginning. It carries over into business. It's all kind of like the same, outline, going back to teaching. It's the same outline if you can follow that and stay consistent, you can break through those plateaus in life or in business, I would say.
Absolutely. Yep. I agree 100%. And so, how do you stay consistent? You continue to be disciplined.
Yeah.
You continue to do it and show up even when it's not, you don't want to. It's, you know, because there are a lot of things in life that we have to do that are uncomfortable because they have to be on the list to move the needle forward.
Right.
You don't always have to be motivated,
Mm-hmm.
but there are key issues in life, business, and weight loss
Mm-hmm.
that if you're not doing them consistently, you're not going to progress forward.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you for sure. We agree on that point. I know we go back and forth on a lot, but I agree with you there for sure.
It's easier to go back to comfort and
Oh yeah.
not make the progress than it is to keep doing the hard things. And again, someone who can say, hey, what are your goals? Why did you start this in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back to prioritizing your vision and your goal.
Yeah, it goes back to comfort zone. We mentioned that last night when I was talking to you about today. I feel like comfort zone's been a biggie for me because of my business. I've gotten into a comfort zone of it pays my bills.
Mm-hmm.
I get all this free time. I can do what I want to do. But it's just, is that good? Am I just settling? Like it pays my bills. I'm kind of settling, right? I,
Yeah.
we sit in our comfort zone because we're comfortable. But when you really think about it, it's you need to push. You need to move forward. You want to grow. If you're not growing, I always said I wanted to be a lifelong learner. If you're not growing, you're not learning, you're not getting better, and you're going to fall into that cycle of being stuck.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when I think about it in the line of like business, if I could just apply that over to the health side of my life, I think I could definitely make it a tad bit easier for me to stick to my goals and remain consistent.
Because it's the same steps and it's the same tactics
Yeah.
in any area of growth. It's hard. It takes consistent steps, even when you're not motivated. So it's leaning on someone else, reaching out, having
And you know,
someone else.
and it's painful. Getting out of your comfort zone is painful every single day. It's painful emotionally. Like it can put a strain on your emotion, on you
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, and you have to really like stay centered and stay focused. And I think that's why when you hit a plateau, it is so hard to stay consistent because you get stuck in that cycle. Okay, I'm doing okay. Oh, I've lost 56 pounds. I'm going to take a break instead of
Yeah.
continuing to push yourself. So yeah, I have to stay consistent in order to move forward.
Yeah.
No
And
too
it's good to note that everyone struggles. I mean, I've even struggled here recently with my schedule being so out of balance and, things being, I haven't had a good routine. And it is easy to fall back into bad habits and patterns and just give yourself grace. It's okay. We're not looking backwards. We're not looking at what we have done or the food
late.
choices that we made or any of that. You've got to look forward and continue to just focus on where you're going and not recount the things that you did that maybe have gotten you stuck.
And I love that, because I'm one of those people that I'm glad you said it because I'm one of those people that would kind of look back and go, I had a really bad weekend. Like, I really messed up,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would start beating myself up. What do you call that? The shame blame cycle.
Shame, blame cycle. We got to
And
get
so,
out of the shame
yeah,
and blame
right,
cycle.
because then I can't move forward if I'm stuck in this cycle of blaming myself for having a bad day Saturday, for eating a piece of pizza, for
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
You've got to get out of that cycle so that you can move forward.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a bad day at a flea market and you only sell 4 pieces, the next day you come in, are you like, man, we only sold 4 pieces yesterday? Or are you like, man, I got to talk to more people today. I've
Exactly.
got to,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Exactly.
again, putting it into perspective with that business side and the steps that you would take, you wouldn't dwell on the fact that you only sold 4 pieces of something. You would be looking forward at, how am I going to do better today?
Well, yeah,
How am I
because
going
I
to
mean,
make
give
the
up
money
on
that I need
dating
to
because we
today?
had a bad day yesterday, you know?
Right.
So why would I give up on myself? I mean, yeah, I mean, it's logical, but it makes sense. But when you have lived the life a lot of us live,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Lindsay, you and I are so different. And I have lived a certain life, and a lot of women have lived it where we settle down and it's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we don't know how to translate health and make it look like where we're successful in the other areas of our life, because, and we discussed it before, we were never given those skills. So
Right.
I think it's important today, if anything the listeners hear from this, is that you can apply all the areas where you're successful, just take them over to your health journey. If you
Yep.
can carry that over, and I'm learning this too, so I'm going to go forward with this, take them over to your health journey, you're going to be successful there too. We say,
That's right.
we say you follow successful people, you do what successful people do. So why would you not take the areas of your life where you're successful and apply them to the areas of your life that need work?
Yep.
You opened my eyes today again.
Yay. That's awesome. Good deal. Well, if you feel like this episode has been valuable, we would love for you to share it with someone else, and like and subscribe on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube, and give us a 5-star review on your favorite listening platform. And if you have any feedback, please leave some comments for us. Anything that you'd like to know about our journeys, anything that you would like for us to talk about, we would love for you to be involved, and reach out to us on social media. We would love to interact and have some conversations, see if we can help you out along your plateaus.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.